Podcast of the week. This is becoming one of my new favorites. This is On the Tape with Danny Moses, Guy Adami, and Dan Nathan. They interview Kara Swisher. I urge you to check out the show often, maybe even weekly, and this interview is great. But at 2024, in the most recent show, Danny Moses talks about Illinois and cannabis. And they, in many states, report their tax receipts from cannabis. And in February, for the first time, tax receipts from cannabis exceeded alcohol, which I think is astonishing. And the tax is pretty hefty. In Massachusetts, I'm told it's 18 to 20%, something like that. So it's significant. And, you're seeing the same kind of reactions that you might expect to see. The alcohol lobby asking Congress to, sit on the cannabis industry, regulate them like the way they are. We'll see how that goes. But there's a bill that I wasn't aware of, and maybe you are, and Mike, maybe you are, but the SAFE Act, Secure and Fair Enforcement. It's a new bill. The GOP has blocked prior versions of this. It allows banks to lend to cannabis companies because still now it's scheduled. It's a scheduled drug federally, and so banks can't lend. So the cannabis companies are paying interest rates in the teens in a zero interest rate environment. It's kind of crazy. It'll allow for U.S. stock listing. It will offers criminal justice reform, which is sorely needed. It seems kind of crazy that you have as many people in jail for cannabis infractions, given where we are right now. So I just find that fascinating. And Guy Adami pointed out that Howard Schultz, Starbucks founder, has invested in the space. Dan Nathan asked Dan Moses how to play this. He didn't mention YOLO, which I was a little disappointed in, but so be it. We'll get him next time, and I'll reach out to him after the show. And Danny very quickly said short private prisons, which, I haven't found an ETF that can do that, but boy, that sounds like something to pursue. I wouldn't want to be those guys right now. And he thinks this becomes the CPG, Consumer Packaged Goods Company of the future. They vertically integrate, they develop brands, they build distribution. So everything from the plant to the last mile, these companies are going to be involved with eventually. And I think he's right. I really do. I think he was early on this, but we've been invested in here for most of the last 12 months. And so now you're seeing these companies getting access to 5 to 7% paper's bonds, basically. And he brought up two things that I had not heard of before. The drug sector ought to be terrified about this, and I hadn't thought about it. But the number of ailments that cannabis can treat effectively, and maybe less expensively, and maybe less chronically. It's a real trend that is going to hurt the pharma companies, and maybe that's playing out into the way the stocks are acting on top of the buy the rumor and sell the news of the vaccine companies. And he also said, well, you'll go talk to the budtender. And Guy and I, because we're the older guys, did a double take and said, budtender, what the heck? And it's a term, apparently. Mike, have you heard of this? Okay. And like you walk into a bartender and you order margaritas, and budtenders will come up with the blend or the type of cannabis that suits whatever you're looking for, and it's incredible to me. And with this, Danny Moses said very matter of factly, this is like autos in the 50s and internet in the 90s.